on this illuminating episode of Mythbusters.
There went his first glass.
Adam and Jamie have a smashing time
I can see nothing. This is insane.
as they reflect on something truly enlightening.
It looks great. I didn't think it would be this good.
Can you really use mirrors and the sun
Behold, I am the master of the sun.
as a form of ancient lighting?
There it is. Doink. Man, that's bright.
Then Tori, Grant, and Carrie
That was hairball.
investigate a freeway fable
I think there's some law enforcement people who would be very interested in talking to us.
that you can slow down an out-of-control vehicle
Your idea of a safe stop is to shank me?
by playing bumper cars on the blacktop.
We're on the road to madness.
Who are the Mythbusters? Adam Savage
What more do you need to know?
and Jamie Hyneman.
When in doubt, C4.
Between them, more than 30 years of special effects experience. Joining them, Grant Imahara,
It's lethal, people.
Carrie Byron,
Jamie just doesn't look right.
and Tori Belleci.
And touchdown.
They don't just tell the myths, they put them to the test.
I've got a story for you to reflect on.
Hit me.
I will hit you with the sun's rays. In the film The Mummy, there's a scene in which the hero has to go deep into a dark tomb, and in order to light his way, he kicks into gear a system of ancient Egyptian mirrors which bounce the sun's rays from outside deep into the bowels of the cavernous tomb so that they can navigate safely.
How enlightened.
Well, that's the question, isn't it?
That's the question. And here's the clip. Sunlight is bounced into the mummy's tomb.
And then there was light.
But is this ancient illumination really possible?
So what do you want to do first?
Well, look, this myth is all about lighting up the darkness with the sun's rays reflected. We need to answer the question, what does it mean to light up the darkness?
We need to define that. What's the minimum amount of light necessary to move around in an unfamiliar space?
Exactly, and I think I've got just a procedure to test this out.
Okay.
Oh, don't worry, you're gonna love it. Before we start bouncing light around the shop with mirrors, we need to determine a couple of benchmarks that we'll be aiming for in these tests. The first one we've determined is the Hollywood benchmark. This is the amount of lighting that they used while filming the film that properly tells the story of a light beam bouncing around with mirrors and lighting up a room. The second benchmark is what I consider to be the heart and soul of this story, and it is, what is the minimum amount of ambient light required to see?
So, step one is finding the minimum benchmark light level needed to see by. And Adam's brainwave to test it is a makeshift maze.
So, what's with the setup? Well, we try to think like archaeologists. An archaeologist going from the desert down into a tomb full of unknown valuable objects and unknown antiquated history does not want to disturb anything in the tomb, even if the lighting conditions are really dim. He doesn't want to disturb anything. He definitely doesn't want to break anything, and that's why we have all the wine glasses precariously placed on posts. We are going to try and make it through this obstacle course under very low light conditions to determine the minimum light conditions you can make it through this obstacle course without breaking anything. That's the sound of failure.
With the course set, the guys focus on benchmark one, the Hollywood level of illumination.
I'm all set.
That means playing with the light level until it matches that of the movie.
Okay, that works for me.
And then record the lux level.
We're going to measure our ambient light level using a meter, like this one, which receives light in through the sensor here and converts that to an electrical signal. Now, our computer converts that signal into what is known as lux.
In the days when candles were king, scientists determined that 1 lux is the amount of illumination that falls over 1 square meter if a candle is set 1 meter away. Using this scale, about 300 lux is the minimum level needed to read by. But how many lux is the movie scene? To find out, it's trial by tweaking as the Mythbusters crank up the levels bit by bit.
201 lux.
And with the benefit of a jump cut or two,
That ought to do it.
they soon find the level they think is a lux lookalike for the mummy.
This looks great. It looks just like the movie.
Okay, that gives us an average of 200 lux.
So that's the Hollywood level sorted. How will Benchmark 2 compare? Adam's got a plan.
Since the archaeologists in this myth went from the bright sun into the tomb, we're going to do the same thing. Here I am in Jamie's electronics room with 2 lights simulating the bright sun. I will then leave the electronics room and walk down the Tunnel of Osiris, otherwise known as Jamie's battery and wire storage shelf. I will then enter the main shop area, which will be pitch black, and I'll use this rope to guide myself out into the middle of the shop. And when I hit the knot, I turn and start to walk the obstacle course. The question is, what is the minimum amount of light required for me to walk this obstacle course without breaking anything? It's not going to be easy.
To find out, Adam set his overhead light source to its bare minimum setting.
Okay, Adam, go ahead and do your thing.
All right, here I go.
Jamie monitors progress on an infrared camera.
Holy crap.
There he is.
I can see nothing.
And for those of you who find the sound of breaking glass disturbing, now might be a good time to switch your set to mute.
Oh, I'm the worst archaeologist ever.
It's a bruising encounter. As Adam
This is insane.
stumbles his way through the wine glass maze.
Here I am, I made it to the end.
And it's clear this light level's far too low for the human eye test.
That was a horror show.
You pretty much broke every glass that was in your path.
Yeah, I think we need to turn up the lights a little bit. Let's make it a little brighter and see if I can't make out some of these shapes.
Okay.
I'll replace the glasses.
Adam tries a slightly increased light level
There we go. 1 notch up.
and sets off again.
Okay, Adam, you're good to go.
All right, here I go. Man, I can't make out.
There went his first glass.
I'm starting to be able to see things. Oh, my eyes are adjusting.
Yeah, he's doing a lot better, actually.
It's still a blur. Oh,
There's number 2,
oh,
number 3, 4, 5,
And after a disappointing start,
7.
it soon becomes another catacomb catastrophe.
all right, Jamie, I'm at the end. Let's turn on the light.
You did a little better.
I did a little bit better. It's the kind of thing where, you know, if you start to not try and look ahead of you, you can sort of make out rough shapes in front of you. It was nowhere near what I would consider visibility. I think we need to turn it up.
So they increase the light level again. And again. And again. But it's not until light level 6 that Adam finally makes it.
This is it. This is the light level. I'm gonna make it the whole way. I made it.
So they break out the lux meter to shed some science on this final setting.
What's the verdict? How dim is it?
I get 0.389 of a lux.
Of ambient light?
Yeah.
That is amazingly dim. My takeaway from this experiment is that it's astonishing how well evolved the human eye is for gathering light. I was able to pick my way carefully through this complex and delicate maze without breaking a single glass. I think I'm gonna succeed. At just 0.389 lux. That's only slightly brighter than a full moon.
At 0.39 lux, the minimum human eye level is 500 times dimmer than Hollywood. And with both benchmarks in the bag, the question now is, can bouncing light with mirrors beat either benchmark?
All right, let's turn out the lights.
All right, so this next myth is all about driving fast, out of control, and it's totally dangerous.
I love it already. What is it?
Could you, if a car was out of control, could you overtake them, get in front of them, and then slow down till you brought that out of control car to a stop?
So as if they had fallen asleep or had a heart attack.
Exactly.
Great, let's try it.
When a driver passes out of the wheel, things get very bad very fast. But does it have to end up like this? Well, apparently not, because according to this myth, you can safely stop a runaway car by overtaking it, then carefully bringing it to a standstill. Freeway fact or blacktop baloney?
Okay, as I see it, we have 2 scenarios. First, The driver's lost total control of the car and has no influence over it at all. There's no steering, and the foot is off the accelerator.
So just coasting then.
Exactly. The second scenario is a little more extreme. There's still no steering, but the foot's jammed onto the accelerator. Would that make a difference?
All right, so we have 2 tests. It sounds like we need to go to stunt driving school. I mean, if this myth is about a car out of control, we need to see what it feels like to be in a car that's out of control.
That is a fantastic idea.
Cue a ramped-up shot, and they're ready to roll.
We're out at the Alameda runway, but before we can start our experiment, we need to learn a little precision driving. We're gonna learn how to approach, bump, and overtake a car.
And these are the cars that we'll be using. We've painted them primary colors so they'll be easy to identify. They've been outfitted with all the safety gear that we need, and in addition to our precision driving instruction, we're gonna find out what it's like to be out of control.
Now, a couple of techniques that we're gonna be learning today in order to stop a car that's out of control are rubbing and bump drafting. These are both techniques that are used in stock car racing, but these techniques are so dangerous that if they're done too hard, the car could go spinning out of control. Believe me, it's gonna get very, very scary.
Yep, and the man to take charge of all that scary stuff, longtime driving instructor Marvin Ruff.
What sorts of skills would we need to learn in order to pull this maneuver off?
You need to learn how to approach a car, how to get alongside it, and how to slowly make contact with that car and get it to stop.
Gary, there was the word slowly in there.
Why is it that I'm always stuck with you driving like a maniac?
Because you're lucky.
It's seat buckles and white knuckles as Grant gets ready for some serious stunt training. Unlike the real testing to come later, for this training, Carrie will always be in control of her car. And Marvin's part is to teach Grant to
20 miles an hour.
overtake,
And move over in front. Okay, here we go.
slow his car down,
Oh my God, this feels crazy.
back the bumper against hers,
Like landing an airplane.
He's slowing down too fast, we're gonna crash. Oh!
You are good. Now just start pushing on that brake.
and bring it all to a stop.
Okay, there it is.
Nice. Thank you. That's awesome.
Yeah, we didn't die.
So that's training hurdle 1 passed with flying colors.
All right, what do you think?
Well, we were only going 20, but I think you did a really nice job.
Getting in front of it and braking is not that hard.
Now, get your brake going.
The hardest part is being smooth.
Slowing down too fast, we're gonna crash.
But you know what? I only did that at 20 miles an hour. I think as we attempt to try this at faster and faster speeds, it's gonna get a lot harder. And being smooth and being safe, that's gonna get harder too.
Next, it's challenge 2, learning what it feels like when something goes wrong, courtesy of the infamous pit maneuver.
And we're not doing the pit maneuver just for the fun of it, even though it's probably gonna be pretty freaking cool. But what we are trying to do is see what it feels like to be in a moving car that is put out of control. The worst part is Carrie's driving. Here we go, in 3, 2, 1, go. Trying to get away from the law.
Scarier still, the rain set in. And ready to put them into a spin, Marvin stalks the red car,
Here he comes. This is it.
pulls up alongside,
Ready to go out of control.
touches the rear fender,
Whoa!
and
You just got pit maneuvered. That felt so good. It's good to be out of control sometimes.
So far, it's looking good. Driving at 20, we can stop a car with another car. This bumper car thing is awesome. Spinning out of control was just the icing on the cake.
training's done. They're bumped, pumped,
You just got pit maneuvered.
and amped to ramp.
I think I feel the need for speed. I think we can go faster now.
Can mirrors illuminate a murky mausoleum using the sun? The film The Mummy claims it can.
And then there was light.
But is this history or hooey? To find out, Adam and Jamie have established 2 benchmarks of illumination.
I can see nothing.
A Hollywood lighting level
200 lux.
and a human eye level.
I get 0.389 of a lux.
And now, by using 2 types of mirror, will they be able to match either benchmark? Well, first up, Adam polishes up some ye olde metal mirrors, and Jamie lines them up.
We've set these mirrors up to bounce light from mirror to mirror down the length of the room. Now, our goal is to see if those beams will raise the ambient light level.
To test this myth, they'll line up their mirrors and try a sun substitute.
Now, artificial sun for this test needs to be like the sun, that is, heavily collimated. That means all the light beams are actually traveling parallel to each other. And the most collimated light we can rent is this, a spotlight.
Ta-da!
And with the metal mirrors lined up, it's time for a moment of discovery. When the shop lights are turned off, how bright will the mirror's light be?
All right, let's turn out the lights. It looks great. I didn't think it would be this good.
Adam's right. First impressions are that these mirrors are working well. But crucially, how are they doing in the lux department?
Got it?
All right. The average ambient light of the polished metal, 1.13 lux. Do our light bouncing mirrors work like they do in the film? I'd say that they do. There is an impressive amount of ambient light in this room solely because of the mirrors. Do they look like they do in the movie? No, they do not. By the 6th mirror, this beam is no longer collimated. It is a heavily, heavily scattered affair.
The scattering, or loss of focus, is not a good look, but the level of light itself is promising. It's clearly not as bright as the movie, but it is better than their naked eye benchmark. So can modern glass be a more polished performer?
This is our polished metal mirror, and this is our glass mirror. Obviously, the glass mirror is more reflective, but is that what we really want? It may be the case that the metal mirror is actually diffusing light more and therefore lighting up the ambient light in the room more. We're just going to have to try it to find out.
So to do that, they position the mirrors with the overhead lights on, and then...
Well, the mirrors are in place. They look great. Here we go. That looks fantastic. It looks just like the movie.
Surprise, surprise.
Yeah, the beams are a lot clearer than they were with the polished metal.
This is more than enough light for me to make it through that maze.
Yeah, I would think so.
Well, let's take some readings and find out.
The modern glass looks better.
All right. Good.
But does the data back that up?
How did our glass mirrors do?
You're gonna love this. First, you remember the ambient light reading we got from the polished metal was 1.13 lux?
Yeah.
Our glass mirrors came in at 0.487 lux.
Who knew?
I know, less than half. Isn't that amazing?
There seems to be more going on here than meets the eye. The goal of all this is to raise the ambient light level in a room, and mirrors alone aren't going to cut it. That light needs to hit something that scatters it. It could be my white shirt, or it can be fog, but it has to scatter to light the room.
Because the modern mirrors give a cleaner beam, the ambient light they give off is actually less than the polished metal, meaning the metal wins. But what's also clear is that the real loser in this proof of concept test is Hollywood.
Look, on this show, we've always known that Hollywood has a penchant for exaggeration. Our Hollywood lighting setup in this shop was 100 times brighter than the ambient light levels we got in our small-scale testing. But that doesn't mean this myth is busted. No, because those ambient light levels were still 2.5 times brighter than what we determined was necessary to safely maneuver through our tomb. That tells me we have every reason to go full scale and bring in the real sun.
So we are back at the Alameda runway. Just to recap, it turns out that you can stop a vehicle with another vehicle.
He's slowing down too fast, we're gonna crash.
But that was only at 20 miles an hour.
Oh!
So now that we've trained, it's time to move on to testing the myth. The first scenario, it's as if somebody has been driving, has passed out at the wheel, and now they're coasting at high speed. The speed we're gonna start at for this first test, 35 miles an hour. This is gonna be interesting.
Okay, so here's the plan. I'll be in this car, the red car, the rescue vehicle. We're gonna give the out-of-control vehicle a head start. It's gonna accelerate to 35 miles per hour, and then I'll apply everything that I've learned. to overtake it, and then apply brakes to safely bring that vehicle to a full and complete stop.
But this time, they're going to try one big change.
Once Grant gets in front of us, I'm going to take my hands off the wheel and my foot off the accelerator, as if I've just passed out.
Let's just hope Grant was paying attention during his training session. I don't think he was.
And for test one, gentlemen and lady, start your engines.
All right, this is 35 mile an hour. Drivers passed out. Here we go in 3, 2, 1, go. All right, we're at 35 miles an hour and commence passing out.
Look, Mom, no hands and no feet, making this officially an out-of-control vehicle.
Here we go.
Which is Grant's cue to first nose his way in front before slowing down. And it's easy peasy, brakes a squeezy, as he manages to haul Carrie in.
And stop. You did it. You
That was a
stopped
little
us.
rough, but it worked.
It totally worked at 35 miles an hour, too.
All right, what's next?
Faster.
All right, let's take it up to 55 miles an hour. Freeway speed.
Well, let me point this out. The bumper of the out-of-control car is actually underneath the bumper of the rescue car. And what that does is it starts to compromise the stability of the rescue car, making it even harder to rescue the person.
The 35-mile-an-hour no-hands test is down. Now they're about to up the danger to freeway speed.
For this next test, there's going to be a little more jeopardy here, because that all is great as long as you're going straight. We're going to be passed out at the wheel. The alignment's not amazing on this salvaged vehicle, and we're going double the speed.
Here we go in 3, 2, 1, go.
55, plus different height bumpers, plus dodgy alignment. Oh, and no hands either.
30 miles an hour. 55 miles an hour. Yeah, this is too exciting to pass out. But here we go.
This is actually kind of scary.
I know. All right, we're passing out. Hand is off the wheel.
With Carrie comatose behind the wheel, Grant brakes in front. If he's a whisker off dead center, one car or other could spin out. It's a totally tricky maneuver.
Here we go. Oh. All right, nice work.
That was a little scary, gotta say. It's a lot more challenging, and at 20 miles an hour, the corrections are sort of gentle. At 55, the corrections have to be a lot faster, and so it's hard to do it really smooth, but it worked. We're live!
It worked at 55 miles an hour. And look, our hood is almost underneath your bumper, and we didn't lose control.
But having survived at 55, can they let it rest at that?
What if the accelerator were stuck?
Yeah, like if the guy passes out and his foot's stuck on the gas.
Or there was some sort of malfunction.
I like it. Add more danger to this experiment.
All right, let's do it.
Adam and Jamie have been reflecting on some proof-of-concept tests at the shop.
The average ambient light of the polished metal, 1.13 lux.
Can you really use mirrors to turn dark into day?
This is more than enough light for me to make it through that maze.
It's certainly a case of so far, so good. But will these results scale up? Will using the real sun and a much larger crypt be the making of this myth?
Well, this is the place.
Looks great.
Okay, it's not ancient Egypt.
Shall I open it up?
Absolutely.
But Treasure Island in San Francisco Bay
Perfect.
uncovers an unexpected underground treasure.
Well, shall we set up?
Let's turn on the house lights. All right, house lights up.
Well, this is our space. Now, it's not a tomb, but it is underground, and it's very, very dark, so it'll be perfect for our testing.
Jamie blocks out a few spots to make total darkness.
There we go.
Meanwhile, Adam's manufacturing modern glass mirrors.
Now, I'll wager you're probably yelling at the screen right now, wondering why I'm building these with glass mirrors when our polished metal mirrors actually gave us a higher ambient light reading. 1.13 lux. This is probably easiest to explain if you take a look at these two shots our cameraman filmed this morning. On the left are the polished metal mirrors. On the right, the glass. Now, see how the light from the polished metal mirrors peters out really fast? Compare that to the glass mirrors where the light is strong virtually all the way to the end, and that's what's really important. This myth isn't about the type of mirror used, it's about bouncing a beam of light. And the polished metal didn't give us that beam. It only lasted about 15 feet before it was diffused. That's why the glass is what we're using in our full-size tune.
And with that cleared up, there's just one more ingredient left: the sun.
Now all we need to do is see if the sun's going to cooperate with us. And that's actually a pretty big if, because not only do we have to worry about whether we can reflect sun into the building, in other words, is it lined up at a decent angle for that, but also this is San Francisco and it's regularly kind of foggy here. If we have a few too many clouds, we're going to be out of business.
Yep, without the big guy in the sky, the tomb's doomed.
Well, I can see the sun, but it is awfully overcast. It is what it is.
So with San Francisco's fickle weather doing its darndest to delay things, Adam has a backup plan.
Have you met my son? It is a 7,000-watt xenon spotlight. We're gonna turn it on now. Oh! Look at that puppy. Boom!
Behold, I am the master of the sun.
Adam's humongous light source gives a whopping 160,000 lux at 50 feet.
That is frickin' awesome.
But will it be bright enough to illuminate their colossal crypt?
I think that's right.
To find out, the guys will shine in Adam's sun, position the mirrors, and then check the light reading. Starting now.
House lights out. Shall we bring in the sun?
Sure, why not?
Let's bring in the first sunbeam.
All right, you ready for it?
I'm ready for it. Bring it on.
Okay, here it comes.
There it is.
Just like the movie, they're using 6 mirrors, all of which are around 35 feet apart.
Doink.
Man, that's bright.
Dude, that is like a 2-foot laser beam. Going for mirror number 4.
Nice.
All right, there it is. That's as good as it gets. Going for the last mirror.
Okay, coming down.
Zoop. That's it. You're in. Ta-da!
And there we go. That works pretty good.
I swear, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say this room is nicely lit. I can move through the antiques without hurting anything.
Easily.
Look, nobody can say that we didn't accurately match the look and behavior of this technique in the film.
Yep, it looks just like the tomb.
It's a good start, but what does the all-important data say?
All right, let's take a reading.
Okay, I got it.
Well, it turns out that bigger is absolutely better. Going full scale with our mirrors is yielding an ambient light reading in this room of 2.3 lux. And when you're in this room, you can totally carefully make your way among the artifacts without any difficulty at all. By both an objective and an empirical standard, the theory behind this technique is totally sound.
In fact, it's over 5 times brighter than the minimum level they determined earlier. And that's very good news for the myth, except for one little thing.
Going full scale and using an artificial light source, we were able to very closely replicate what we saw in the movie. But this story is about using the sun.
Jamie's right, but luckily, the long-lost suns finally put in a show. So, let there be light.
The question is, will it be enough light for an archaeologist such as me or Mr. Hyneman to be able to move through a tomb without breaking anything?
Can you really bring an out-of-control car to a stop with a dangerous game of bumper cars?
So far, so good.
Yeah, it turns out you can slow down a coasting car using this technique. But now, I think it's time to ramp things up.
By seeing what happens when the driver has their foot jammed on the accelerator.
This is gonna be a whole nother experience because now that the accelerator's stuck, this car's not gonna wanna stop.
So back at Alameda Runway, it's pedal to the metal, literally. And for that, Tori's going green, because this time, he's doing the rescuing.
All right, time to go save some lives. Hope they don't wreck my paint job.
This time, he's going for highway high speed.
For this next test, what I'm being asked to do is to depress the accelerator as if it is stuck and then take my hands off the wheel. At no time should I take my foot off the accelerator. Totally counterintuitive and kind of scary.
Okay, this is stuck accelerator at 55 miles per hour. 3, 2, 1, go.
All right, looks like it's time to go save some lives.
Carrie puts her pedal to the metal and takes the car up to 55 miles an hour.
55 miles per hour.
With a stuck accelerator, this test will be a whole different ballgame.
I feel like we're in NASCAR.
Like a heart attack victim, Carrie lets go of the wheel,
Okay, hands off the wheel.
but keeps her foot firmly on the gas. The green machine makes contact.
Yeah!
Now it gets dangerous. Tori starts stomping on the brakes. And while that does start to slow both cars,
Nice!
it also causes them to veer dangerously off course. As Tori tries to correct, he starts to fishtail. But one final pump of the brakes brings the cars to a stop. Just.
Whoa! Holy!
Oh, yeah!
That was up.
Oh my God. It worked. A little scary though, huh?
What are you talking about? I was totally scared!
That was so fun. All of a sudden, we start like fishtailing and just getting out of control.
With the brakes locked solid, it still took Tori 500 yards to bring the cars to a stop. 4 times longer than the normal stopping distance at that speed.
So 55 was fun. Do you think you could handle 75? Because I'd like to go 75.
Let's try it.
At 55 miles per hour, this was difficult. At 75, with over 1 million joules of kinetic energy, this is going to be nearly impossible.
Nearly impossible because 1 million joules is clearly a lot. The same, in fact, as a 10-pound bowling ball traveling at 1,500 miles an hour.
We're about to stop a car going 75 miles an hour out of control with another car. Buckle up. It's about to get real.
In 3, 2, 1, go!
With both cars accelerating to 75,
70 miles an hour!
Carrie again lets go of the wheel,
Hands off the wheel.
but keeps her foot on the gas.
Looks like those guys are out of control.
Tori gets in position and then starts pumping the brakes. But this time, at this speed, the cars rapidly head off course. With the fence getting ever closer, Tori's wheels lock up, and he veers off again. Fortunately, he recovers just in time.
That was hairball.
Dude.
I had both feet on the brakes, and I still wasn't stopping.
We were getting closer and closer to the gate. I'm like, oh,
I was like, oh, I'm going to push him through the fence.
Without doubt, it was the hardest rescue yet, as Tori's smoking tires attest. But he did pull it off.
What I think we learned from this, though, is that you can stop a car even going 70 miles an hour. Unless we're going to do this whole thing at 100 miles an hour, I think we have to call it. This one is confirmed.
Totally confirmed.
Confirmed.
Confirmed it is, but not something you should try at home. Now, most people would call it quits, but Carrie's got an appetite for more.
So this rescue myth has reminded me of a technique I've heard of that I've always wanted to try, where you actually can sandwich a car with 2 cars to slow it down.
Oh, so they wedge the runaway car and use friction to bring it to a stop.
A car sandwich. That sounds dangerous. I love it.
So hungering for more action, Grant and Tori are about to put the squeeze on Carrie's car.
So we showed that it's possible to stop an out-of-control car with another car. But now we're back at the Alameda runway, and this time we're going to try to stop an out-of-control car with 2 cars. We're making a car sandwich.
Basically, this thing we're about to do right here, this is the most dangerous thing we're gonna do all week.
You heard right. If they overcook this sandwich maneuver, Carrie's toast.
So far, I've been able to handle this, but I noticed that I put my seatbelt on just a little bit tighter for this one.
In 3, 2, 1.
Most sane people would see this as a seriously crazy thing to try. Carrie driving with stuck accelerator, no hands, at silly speed. And they'd be right. There's a real danger here of 1, 2, or all 3 cars rolling. Grant and Tori pull alongside, move closer, and... well, you can see the result.
Oh my gosh! It worked!
It was ugly, but I think it worked.
We stopped an out-of-control car with 2 cars.
Oh my God, it's working!
I would have to say that's working.
It definitely was successful in stopping the car. Man, I think we could do this better. I mean, this was super clumsy.
And having survived that rescue, Carrie's throwing down the gauntlet for a custom-built challenge.
Why don't you guys figure out a better way to stop the out-of-control vehicle? What if both of you go off and come up with your own ways to stop the car, and I'll give you a challenge as a really out-of-control vehicle?
You like being out of control, don't you?
Back on Treasure Island, the San Francisco sun is finally smiling on Jamie and Adam's test setup.
I'm in the door.
Meaning they can finally attempt a real-world test using their large tomb and the real sun.
Yeah, baby.
The problem is, unlike all their other tests, they can't just point the sun straight inside.
I think we're set. Should we bring in the sun?
Let's bring it in. Okay, house lights out.
Instead, they have to bounce it in, courtesy of a primary mirror outside.
Wow, look at that.
I'm gonna go for the first mirror.
Okay,
But once that's sorted,
that is intense.
We got a beam in the room. Here I am.
Here it comes.
it's then back to the tricky task of aligning all the mirrors.
Okay. That's pretty good.
Look at that. It's actually working.
One by one,
Going for mirror 2. Oh, right. Mirror 2.
until the end target is lit.
Mirror 3. Oh.
There we go. That's beautiful. All right, I'm gonna bring it in on our last target. And there it is. Perfect.
That is fantastic.
This is the best yet. I can totally see things in here. I can pick them up, put them back, no problem.
I am blown away by how well this technique worked. With sunlight and mirrors, we made enough ambient light in this room to totally move around it without breaking any artifacts.
Okay,
But what are the lux levels?
2.51 lux. That's amazing. That's really bright.
They've cracked it. 6 times brighter than the minimum eye level. Enough to put a smile on Adam's dial. Well, briefly.
We're losing our beam.
Yeah, we are.
You know what the problem is?
What?
The sun's moving. The relationships have all changed a little bit, Jamie.
Have they?
Yeah. The sun's moved off the primary, which means the aim on the secondary is a little bit off.
As the sun moves off the primary mirror, it kicks all the others out of kilter.
And the sun's moved again. I'm gonna kick the primary one more time.
Okay.
And for lighting up a tomb, that is a problem.
The thing about using the sun is that the Earth is rotating on its axis, and it's also rotating around the sun, which means that from our perspective, the sun is moving all over the place across the sky. So you can't really expect to be able to aim a beam of light using a mirror at a specific spot without constantly adjusting it to accommodate for the sun's movement.
And its movement is surprisingly fast.
With this much distance on these mirrors, the amount the sun's moving on the last one is like inches per minute. Well, it works, but only for about 3 minutes at a time before the sun moves.
That's a little bit of a problem, isn't it?
It is.
Well, I guess if you have a bunch of slaves to constantly adjust the mirrors.
The mirrors are static, they don't move dynamically, but the sun does. And as the sun moves through the sky, it changes its geometry on the primary mirror, which changes the geometry on all the other mirrors in this room. they'd have to be moved dynamically throughout the whole thing to keep this room lit. So because of that, I don't feel like we've really seen the theory behind this technique work as well as it could.
Yep, and that's something that didn't happen in the movie. But before the sun sets on this myth, Jamie's got one little trick up his sleeve. Carrie, Grant, and Tori have confirmed the myth. You can stop an out-of-control car with another, with brake and bumper technique, plus that crazy sandwich combo. Now, Carrie set the boys a challenge to come up with that custom-built device to stop a car.
Ramming speed.
Challenge. Such a nice ring to it. So with a mix of metal and midnight oil later,
perfect,
they come up with a typical ingenious Mythbusters solution.
Yeah.
Now they're ready to reveal all.
Come on, you guys, try and stop me.
Grant first.
To address Carrie's challenge to come up with a better way to stop a car, I have this. These paddles mount underneath the front bumper of each car. Employing the sandwich technique will come in and they will allow us to control the runaway car and bring it to a safe stop. All right. See, the other car's bumper comes in like this. We don't have to get so far in front, so there's no chance of spinning out. Then we just lock you in with the L shape and slow you down.
Sounds good on paper. Sounds bad when that's through the grill of the car.
As for Tori's approach,
all you need to do is get your car going really fast and then rear end the car that's out of control. The whole idea here is that you harpoon the car in front of you. Once you are inside the car, you release that hook.
Really? This is your idea?
It might give you whiplash, but it should stop your car.
Your idea of a safe stop is to shank me?
More like harpooning.
but enough of all that glum talk. There's a car to be captured and saved. Twice. It's crunch time at Alameda. Grant's sandwich maker machines warmed up, ready to save Carrie.
Ready to drive.
3, 2, 1, go.
Grant's ingeniously bolted bars to the front of each car
40, 50, here they come.
to act like a barrier to stop Carrie's car. Now it may look crazy, but it's blitzed the job.
Gotcha!
Woo! Gotcha! That was beautiful. That worked so much better than the original sandwich.
Oh my God, we totally gotcha.
That was awesome.
Grant, your method is safer.
Nice work.
Thanks.
Now, if we can only get the cars apart.
Are we gonna have to drive them home like this? I get to a constant speed, take my hands off the wheel, and watch the cars on either side of me start to close in very, very quickly. They slam at the same time. My bumper hits the front pedals, and they actually are slowing me down. I smell rubber burning, but I'm coming to a stop. It's amazing.
And if that wasn't scary enough, then there's the harpoon.
This is a new technique. This is more of a stabbing, hooking, and then using the weight of the vehicle to slow the out-of-control car down.
This plan? Nothing about it seems like a good idea. Harpooning the back of my car, ramming it as hard as you can. Who comes up with this kind of idea? Only a crazy person.
I think we're set.
It's a simple plan. Get up behind Carrie's car, crash into the trunk, slam on your brakes. What could possibly go wrong?
3, 2, 1, go.
The Runway Road Warrior sets out, ready to rescue.
This is Tori and Grant in Harpoon Rescue, in pursuit. Okay, hands off the wheel. Go for it, man. Here we go.
Carrie's car is skewered. Now, on the sophistication scale, it's crafty. As for the all-important results rating, it's a hit.
Working!
It's working!
Nice!
It's working!
Nice! Good job!
I can't believe that worked!
The rear spear!
Dude, that's awesome!
It stopped the car out of control.
Okay, we're gonna have to take both of these ideas and patent them so that we can sell them back to the Highway Patrol because that's amazing.
I think there's some law enforcement people that would be very interested in talking to us.
The harpoon technique worked. Carrie took off at 50 miles an hour. I caught up with her. It didn't take much to punch through the back of her car and hook it. I came to a stop, she came to a stop.
Nice!
I have to say that stopping a car with another car has been very successful. We've gotten in front of the runaway car and applied our brakes and safely stopped it at speeds in excess of 70 miles per hour. We've come up to the sides and sandwiched the car using plates welded to our front bumpers. And finally, we've deployed a crazy harpoon-like spear to punch into the trunk of the runaway car and drag it to a stop. Just goes to show, if you have a runaway car, call the Mythbusters. Actually, no, you should call the police.
Back at Tut HQ on Treasure Island, Jamie's not quite done testing Lux levels.
There's one other thing I'd like to try. You're gonna like it.
All right, let's do it.
In their earlier small-scale tests, Jamie made an ambient light level breakthrough.
The goal of all this is to raise the ambient light level in a room, and mirrors alone aren't gonna cut it. That light needs to hit something that scatters it.
So now, in their full-sized sunlit tomb, he's itching to see if this scatter theory will scale.
Turn off your headlamp and check this out.
That's beautiful.
And you thought I didn't know how to light up a room.
I stand corrected. Let's take a reading. Okay, maximum. All right, moving away. Average lux, 8.62 lux. Woo for Jamie's shirt.
Amazingly, with this reflective scattering, Jamie's whiter-than-white shirt has given the maximum light reading for the entire experiment. Adam's gobsmacked.
Well, it turns out that Jamie's starched white shirt provides almost 3 times as much ambient light in this space as the next best technique of everything that we've tried.
And Jamie's reaction? Well, this is Jamie.
A mirrored surface is going to be your best bet to get light into a room because it's very directional. But if you want to actually light the room, once that light gets in there, you're best off if it hits a surface like my white shirt, because the white isn't so directional. It's going to spread the light and raise your ambient light level.
How do you want to wrap this up?
In theory, it's plausible, because the sun's rays did in fact provide enough ambient light to move around the room.
I agree. Plausible, but totally impractical. First of all, the sun moves, so you only get that light for about 3.5 minutes before you have to shift everything. And the idea that all those mirrors would sit around for 3,000 years and be ready to light up that room, totally ridiculous.
Yeah, plausible, but ridiculous.
Yeah.